Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our webinar today. I think we can start right now. I think we've waited for 5 minutes and there's enough people. So I'll start with myself. My name is Benjamin Jerke. I'm in charge of cybersecurity for DNS Technologies. Um, as you know, DNS Technologies started 2011, led by Mr. Pravin Swami, and we have grown quite a bit since then. Uh, we've been in the business mostly was for to sell devices and licenses, but now we've pushed from 2021. We've pushed into the cybersecurity solution stuff, where we help our clients improve their cybersecurity infrastructure, be it endpoint security, be it email security, be it network security. We are there. So today we are here to talk about Trustifi, which we've partnered with to increase our cyber security in our email security, in our email security infrastructure. Uh, so today we have Noah Gallo, who is the senior accountant executive at Trustifi. So without further ado, I'm going to transfer it to him. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ben. I appreciate that. Well, I see a couple familiar faces. So some people who do know me, hello. If people don't know me, my name is Noah Gallo with Trustifi. I'm the sales director here, covering Mauritius and other territories. I've been with the company about 4.5 years now. My background a little bit, I started out a little over a decade ago working in cybersecurity, covering routers, firewalls, then moving into pen testing, vulnerability management, learning a little bit more about that, working in API security, and then most recently with Trustifi for the past 4.5 years, helping to build the territory locally in Mauritius and then other parts. So today I'll give a presentation over about Trustifi, but also about the landscape of email security, what we're seeing, some trends, different types of attacks, things like that. If there's any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. Anything that I can answer on the spot, I will. Anything that I do not have the answer right off the bat, I will make sure I follow up with Ben. And then post presentation today, if there's any further interest about Trustifi and learning a little bit more, please feel free to reach out to the DNS Technologies team. We're very fortunate to work with them, and we want to help increase awareness and help protect email security, help protect organizations from getting hacked. So with my presentation today, I will jump right in. Before I go into the platform itself and just the landscape, I always like to highlight a little bit about Trustifi. We're a global brand. We have offices around the globe. And what all of our clients, we try to offer the top level of support, being available 24/7, 365. Just a little bit about email landscape as well. What we've seen, what the engineers and the team has seen here at Trustifi, is that 91% of targeted attacks start via email. With the fact that with the fact that email security is a growing, or email usage, excuse me, is a growing, space. People now are leveraging more and more devices. We see people with multiple work emails and personal emails. And they're looking at a projected use of 4.7 billion users by 2026. We've seen that actually 75% of organizations have fallen victim to at least one successful email attack in the past 12 months. So just knowing that it's a target ripe environment. And we've seen a large increase in malicious cyber campaigns as well, linked to generative AI since the beginning of 2023. And what the most common attack, because malicious emails are no longer just about a bad link or attachment, it's now about manipulating the user. We've seen an increase in phishing attacks. These are the most difficult type of emails to detect because, like I said, there's no link or attachment. It's more of manipulating the user, getting them to divulge sensitive information, that could compromise an organization. There's many different approaches to this, making it very hard for companies to pivot. And just a little brief overview on some phishing statistics. I always like to kind of paint the landscape here. They said there's an estimated 361.6 billion emails sent daily. And on average, there's 3.4 billion phishing attacks on a daily basis. And most organizations we've seen are leveraging Google, Microsoft, things like that. And they're catching 200 million, they say, on average. That can fluctuate, of course. But with, the large volume and the fact that they only need one to get into the organization, it doesn't make it sufficient. There's additional protection that's needed on top of Microsoft. Especially with the cost of an average data breach, where it's more than $4 million, per organization. And it's with the launch of phishing, with AI adaptive tools that are helping, develop more sophisticated phishing attacks, we're seeing an increase in that. And here I always just like to highlight there's a couple different phishing attacks. There's such a variety of these phishing emails that are used in these type of campaigns, whether it's through spear phishing and whaling, smishing. I think this is interesting, using SMS, incorporating that, search engine phishing, malware, and there's such a variety here. It really makes it very difficult. They're constantly shifting. They're pivoting with QR codes, using different tactics on a daily basis. Then having the ability to incorporate the AI keeps these attacks a little more sophisticated, making it difficult for organizations to constantly pivot. Let's see. Okay. This slide here, I always like to call out, just because this is a great example of an attack that, where we see Microsoft 2018 Corporation, but with the ability to mask elements of this, you're going to see a change in this as well. So I almost gave it away, but if anybody knows the type of attack that I'm sharing here from the previous slide, please put it into the chat. We always like to kind of get a little engagement from the staff here or from all the attendees. Just taking a little dive into Microsoft Defender, looking at the statistics here, because most organizations are using Defender. This is something that we're constantly seeing in the landscape, and Microsoft's missing almost 76% of all spam emails. Malicious links, they're missing 65% of those. They're not catching gray mail. And they're still missing malicious files. So it's gotten to the point where like insurance companies now understand that Microsoft Defender is not enough. They understand that, that you need an additional layer of protection. It's gotten to the point where they're changing premiums. Organizations, what I've seen on my end personally is organizations are increasing costs depending on if you have a third-party security vendor protecting you. And if you don't, then they'll change that premium. So what we've picked up over time is, most organizations, that have email security incorporated start out with, potentially a gateway solution. Because gateway products, this technology has built over 20 years ago, now as the hackers have more advanced and sophisticated tools to launch attacks, and there's more of an antiquated gateway solution in place, there creates gaps there. It's not providing enough security. It's not able to pivot fast enough to adapt and keep up with the changing times. But also due to the architecture and the deployment sitting on the perimeter, not being able to get into internal traffic and separate it in certain ways, it creates an increase in resources. There's some challenges with deploying this. So we've seen that organizations potentially would leverage then, say, an API security tool on top of the gateway. So now you're creating multiple layers that you have to manage. And sometimes layers can be beneficial, but we've also seen that this creates other holes. With API security, there could be potentially post-delivery vulnerabilities where, it's in the inbox for just a moment, but also becomes another vendor to manage. Now, if they're also incorporating some sort of an outbound tool, they might have additional tools in the place. So when you look at that, you're now, managing Defender or Google security plus the potential gateway plus an API security tool. This becomes a lot to manage and becomes a heavy resource strain. So it's become, a stronger opportunity for hackers, knowing that there's inconsistencies, knowing that there's older technology used. And I know other vendors have done a great job getting updated and, keeping with that. But still, the fact that it's built on older platforms, there's a lack of agility at times that we've seen. So it creates opportunity. And with the success rate, hackers will literally only need 1% success rate. They just need one person to get into the organization. Uh, that's, with the access and the ability to get in to attack one mailbox, then they can move laterally, escalate their privileges, creates opportunities and, puts organizations at risk on a daily basis. Another thing too, when looking at email security solutions, what we've seen is a lot of organizations focus on the security side of this. They're looking at a product that can detect the malware, ransomware, and that's great. You do need that. I think that's very important. But there's other elements to consider. Ensuring your outbound data is protected. With hackers, they may try to look at your outbound traffic to understand who you're talking to understand who you're talking to understand, what domains, the average usage of this, the average communication, when the peak times are, so they can kind of form their landscape of their email attacks and their campaign against an organization by monitoring that outbound traffic. They can also, steal some of that information as well, but, having a strong outbound compliance tool that can protect and encrypt your data, but also mask it so hackers cannot get that reconnaissance to understand how to build the attack campaign. It limits their tool set. It does. It makes a big impact. And the other thing too, what we've seen, and it's not highlighted often, but I think it's important to mention, is the productivity aspect. Um, Especially with cleaning up the mailbox per se. You see that people will go through their spam emails and consider that productive work when actually, having an effective tool that cleans that out, it removes that task from their daily activity and then gives them, allows them to focus on the more mission critical tasks in the organization. I think that's important to mention because these all play hand in hand to each other. Having strong compliance helps improve your security, which then helps improve productivity. So I think there's a direct correlation to the bottom line for organizations and ensuring that, all of these kind of line up against each other. Okay. So with that, I do like to highlight just a brief touch on Trustify and highlight the platform and the modules. There's many vendors out there. I think there's a lot of great products out there, and we pride ourselves on trying to offer, a cutting edge platform. We value our clients' input, and a lot of our platform is built on customer feedback and input. It helps us stay relevant with the times, understanding what companies' operations and tasks are. And then we're constantly updating and evolving the product. Starting on the left, you're looking at our Inbound Shield module. This is the Trustify's inbound phishing, advanced threat protection platform. This is going to scan all of your inbound emails. As these emails come in, just like other vendors, there's this baseline scan where it's checking the domains, the IP, the return path, the headers, checking your block list. And that's great. Any platform that you use should be able to do that. But where Trustify separates itself and then further enhances and gives you leverage is this AI-based contextual analysis. What Trustify is doing is evaluating the content of this email, the AI engine, not the staff, of course, but it's understanding that content, looking for phishing content, sense of urgency, things like that, but then correlating that to the technical footprint. So when somebody reaches out saying that they need, they're trying to use phishing to get some information, maybe they're, impersonating an employee of the organization, Trustifi looks at that content, then matches it up against the actual technical footprint, making sure this person says, I'm an employee. Is this the employee's email address? If they're referencing a previous conversation, have they actually had another conversation with them before? But also by, understanding the behavior and looking at all of that, it helps improve that accuracy. We offer, of course, URL rewriting for, links. We have attachments, password crackers to open up the attachment. We can check the attachments for images, links, sensitive data, sensitive date, sensitive information in the images. We check for embedded HTML in the images as well. But I think really important is Trustify leverages over 100 unique identifiers on an individual email basis to determine the intent. And that's really the important thing to mention here is understanding the intent of this message helps the system determine and helps the vendor determine if this should be blocked or released. As I mentioned earlier, part of Trustify, part of security is about protecting your outbound traffic. So we do offer an outbound DLP solution, and this really scans your outbound traffic. This will, look for sensitive data. You have the ability to create rules, and then encrypt that traffic. So hackers don't have the ability to see who you're communicating with. They don't have, the ability to steal that information. But we've also made innovations in the outbound portion, in the sense we understood that customers had a high abandonment rate of emails, of using encrypted portals because there was these mandatory logins, this forced registration process. If you're an organization, insurance space and retail space, and you personally know probably that customers don't like to log in. Maybe they're non-technical, maybe they're elderly, maybe they're suspicious. So giving the organization the ability to offer ease of use with the ability to decrypt with a click of a button or implement concepts like tokenization where you only encrypt sensitive data, it helps with the efficiency and productivity of the business and the bottom line. That understanding how that correlates to that bottom line is very important. I think that should be incorporated at every level. But also with aggregating the data of the outbound traffic, it then increases the accuracy of the inbound traffic because it understands who you talk to. So when phishing emails come in, if somebody's impersonating someone, the system could say, hey, wait, this person has never emailed them before. So these kind of really play hand in hand. So I've seen personally a lot of organizations will have multiple vendors. And one of the challenges that I've seen is the aggregation of data and being able to get a real full campaign overview of all of your email traffic versus a single solution looking at inbound traffic versus a single solution managing outbound traffic. In addition to monitoring your outbound and inbound traffic, it's important to monitor your users' login and behavior. There's always a risk of internal threats, but there's always a risk of just bot attacks, things like that, where they're not looking at the traffic, where they're running scripts with the on the login portal. With different users' names and passwords that are bought off the dark web. So having a solution that also monitors the login staff, understands the devices and the locations that they work out of, the volume of emails that they send on, say, an hourly basis, or where they're sending sensitive data, it's another layer of protection. It could potentially protect from internal threats as well. Maybe staff are looking to leave. So you have that option as well. It's really, kind of becoming a best of breed of all attack vectors on the email space. We offer archiving as well. This is something that I think is important to have incorporated into platforms because different requirements and compliance needs. And we also recently launched security awareness training. Our team has seen a large amount of zero-day attacks, different types of phishing emails, and incorporating that, templatizing those attacks, then giving you the ability to train your staff on that, help them understand that, but also change innovate the way that we train the staff. What we've seen is traditional security awareness training programs. After somebody fails, say, a potential phishing attack, they watch videos and, it's educational. But there's always like a same repeat group of offenders. And we found that happens because maybe they're not truly paying attention or they just, it's not top of mind after they do their testing and their videos, they kind of move on from there. Where with Trustifi, we actually add what you call educational smart banners, where you could put this on individuals' emails, and then now for a duration of time that you specify, they have training banners, bringing cybersecurity top of mind, letting them know that, hey, this is not this potentially, there's nothing malicious in the links or attachments, but there's something you should be aware of. So be careful. Or on the other side, hey, this is a trusted contact. You can communicate with them, giving people that understanding, but also the idea of pushing security awareness throughout the organization. There used to be just a understanding that IT and security handled that. Somebody in a different department, that wasn't their responsibility. But now it's important to incorporate that at all levels. In addition to that, I get it. Onboarding and leveraging another platform or tool. Sometimes companies don't want to migrate because they've been using it. They don't have the bandwidth. Training on a new platform becomes difficult. So we've offered what we call our email managed detection and response, where you can leverage our team's expertise and security experience to help improve your security posture. So offering those options, we're trying to help organizations protect themselves, help them also, and help them also ramp up as quick as possible. What we've seen during testing, obviously when we work with clients, most of them have a solution in place, and they're using something. So Trustifi can be tested in ways where we're not touching your existing security infrastructure. We're taking a copy of traffic that your current vendor releases. And what we've seen over a sample size of 100,000 phishing emails in production level environments is, other vendors have missed these type of attacks that we've picked up. And I get no organization's perfect, but I think the idea is to strive for, having the best platform, making sure the protection level's there. So now, of course, I understand that I'm a salesperson or I work in the sales department. So, don't trust me, trust but verify on your own. So that's why we designed this structure to allow you to verify the accuracy of this engine in your environment. But I'd like to just show you a little screenshot of what type of evaluation is done with Trustifi when looking at an individual email. The Trustifi platform is looking at the sender's identity, understanding if this person's ever communicated with you before. By looking at this connections graph, it's going to look to see if this person spoke to anyone else in the organization. So you're going to get real-time analysis to understand, wait, this is not a safe email. In the content, they said, hey, I was speaking to your colleague, but they've never emailed anyone else in the organization. There must be something off about this. But tracking all of this and then giving you a single screen to view it is very important, because it gives you speed to decision. It gives you a deeper understanding. Maybe it's just a bad IP, or maybe it's passed through exposed servers, you can see on the bottom. But also viewing your links and attachments. The product gives you the ability to view links before having to click on it. You can track if there's malware associated to it, track if your staff's clicked on it, view the attachments as well. All of this helps improve decision making in real time, with understanding that businesses move very fast, and they can't be slowed down. Everybody, you need to have high level security without impacting your organization or slowing the business. Important to kind of aggregate this data, give you the ability to make a single decision in a very fast moment. So with architecture, I always like to just highlight why Trustifi has a different architecture. It's becoming more and more common. But what we've seen is traditional gateway solutions where they sit on the outside, where Trustifi is deployed via SMTP relay. What this does is gives you the ability to add the platform to your environment without downtime, without impacting the staff. You also can separate the traffic, understanding that certain users can go through certain traffic, and then others don't. Others can be excluded. It helps give flexibility when customizing in a unique environment and understanding, what's needed understanding how to make these changes specifically for you. And same thing on the inbound. We offer different deployments for cloud architecture, for on-prem architecture. We try to, give as many options as possible to organizations, making sure that whatever their custom setup is, the system can be customized, it's flexible to meet their needs, and ensure that they are able to leverage the best type of security, defending against those attacks. Now with security, I've spent a couple minutes highlighting Trustifi's email security, but I also want to kind of highlight other things about it. It's not just a good security product. Yes, it's great to have a platform similar to Trustify, an environment to help protect you, but it's more important than that. There's the need for strong password protocol. Understanding that, keeping the staff aware of how to constantly change and what strong password protocol is, coming up with formulas to keep that constantly changing, implementing tools like multi-factor authentication to understand if a hacker does get the password, they still need to verify, creating another layer of challenges for somebody trying to break in, constantly building out, security awareness training, keeping the staff educated on what's happening out there, keeping them, aware of different types of trends and attacks, having campaigns throughout the organization internally. I've seen one organization where they had phishing emails, like posted phishing information on elevators, in the cafeteria, everywhere they went. They were hanging up information about this, because the importance of security controls, it's about enabling additional layers of email security in the environment to ensure that, the organization's protected. We understand that no product is perfect. There's always going to be a new attack coming in. So having compensating controls to protect against that, I think, is very, very important. Okay, so with that was what I wanted to cover. If there was any questions, I'd like to please feel free to put them in the chat and let us know. If there was further interest on this, please feel free to reach out to the DNS Technologies team. We want to offer our support with them. So if anybody needs to have individual one-on-one calls, please feel free to reach out. Please let us know what we could do. We can have a little more of a one-on-one personal conversation talking about that. If some of you are existing customers, please feel free to reach out as well. I'd always more than happy to connect with you if there's any follow-up questions. But Benjamin, did you have anything in the chat?
No chat,
Okay.
nothing yet. Yeah, nothing yet.
Gotcha. Okay. I don't know if you had to go through something, if you wanted to highlight any of the giveaways.
If there's no questions, guys, I know a lot of you here are just hoping to get the voucher or hoping to get the laptop bag. So we'll be giving this out after you fill out the survey that will be sent into your emails. So once the surveys are filled out, we will do a random test, raffle, and then pick the top 3 winners.
Yes. And Benjamin, what were the raffles or the vouchers?
So the prizes are, the first one is a 2,000 rupee voucher at Holiday Inn. The second is a laptop leather case. And the third voucher is a free security awareness training for your company.
All right. Those were very nice. Yep.
So, any questions?
Yep.
Okay. Let's give like 2 minutes. If no questions, then call it a day.
Not a problem. And they can always email directly to you guys if there was individual questions. If there's specific information or people wanted to learn more, please reach out to DNS Technologies. They'll coordinate a time. They'll coordinate a time to speak individually about their product services, or if they were interested in speaking more about Trustifi. But thank you very much, everybody. I appreciate the opportunity to present. Thank you for your ear. I hope this was impactful and relevant information. And, thank you.
Thank you, Noah, for your time. So if anyone needs a demo or any questions, you can send to us in DNS. Our team is here to always assist. Thank you very much and have a great day.